I still remember the morning it all went down like it happened yesterday. And even now, every time I smell fresh coffee or hear tires crunching on gravel, my chest tightens a little because it takes me back to that cabin by the lake. I'd been up early, nerves buzzing because I was about to have a private meeting with someone I never thought I'd share a living room with, the state's attorney general. Yeah, the big guy himself. He'd agreed to drive out to my place because the cabin sat on state conservation land, and we had paperwork to review. A few agreements about shoreline protections. And honestly, I just felt honored he trusted me enough to meet in person. I had fresh coffee in my hand, he had tea in his, and for a brief moment it felt almost normal. Two men chatting about documents in front of the morning light spilling through the lakefront windows. Then the door slammed open. Without so much as a knock, high heels clattered against the wooden floor, sharp and angry, and there she was, Marla, president of the local HOA, holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. She marched in like she owned the place, wagging her finger at me before I could even process what was happening. "You can't live here without HOA approval," she barked, stabbing the air with her pen. "There are inspection fees you've been avoiding, and I know about your illegal renovations." Now, to be clear, this wasn't the first time Marla had come after me. She had a reputation around the neighborhood. Half pit bull, half gossip. Columnist, always sniffing around for control, using the HOA bylaws like a cudgel to squeeze money out of people who didn't have the energy to fight back. I dealt with her little notes tucked under my wiper blade, the rude phone calls about my deck chairs not matching community color codes, and even once she threatened to fine me because I had wine chimes that, she claimed, disrupted the acoustic harmony of the street. But barging into my home uninvited, that was a new low. I just stood there, coffee in hand, blinking at her like she'd crawled out of the lake itself. And behind me, the Attorney General raised one eyebrow but stayed silent, sipping his tea like he was watching a theater performance. Marla hadn't noticed him yet. She was too focused on poking me in the chest and rattling off fake violations. I finally managed to get a word in. "Marla, this is my land. You don't have any jurisdiction here." My voice was calm, though. Inside, I could feel my pulse climbing, and then she saw him, the man in the suit behind me. But instead of shrinking back like I half expected, she doubled down. "Oh, good, you're here," she said to him, her tone dripping with authority she didn't actually have. "You need to help me file charges against this man. He refuses to pay fines, and he's in violation of HOA codes. I demand you shut down his cabin." The silence that followed was thick enough to freeze the whole lake outside. The Attorney General set his cup down slowly, leaned forward, and asked in this low, measured tone, "Charges?" Marla folded her arms like she'd just won the case. "Already." "Yes, charges. He's violating HOA rules, arrest him." And that's when his lips curled into this faint smirk. "Ma'am, do you even know whose cabin this is?" She blinked, thrown off for the first time, and muttered, "Some squatter." He stood, straightened his jacket, and delivered the line that shifted everything. "This cabin is state-protected property, and he's the one who helped me get it that way." I swear I saw the exact second her face drained of color, like a balloon with the air sucked out. But instead of admitting she'd overstepped, she jabbed her finger at me again and said, "I don't care who he knows. The HOA has rules." Before I could reply, the front door banged open again. Two men walked, and not local police but state enforcement officers. Jackets with the seal stitched on the chest, clipboards in hand instead of weapons. They were there for a scheduled review of shoreline access. The taller one greeted me politely. "Mr. Dalton, we're here for the review." Marla leapt forward like they'd just arrived to save her. "Perfect timing," she said, her voice sharp. "He's blocking public lake entry and violating building codes. Write it down." The shorter officer frowned, flipping his clipboard open. "And you are?" "I'm the HOA president," she declared proudly, puffing up like a peacock. "And under HOA authority," the taller one cut her off flat. "Ma'am, this is outside any HOA jurisdiction. This cabin sits on state-leased conservation land. Her mouth hung open. What do you mean outside jurisdiction? We've been collecting fees from this area for years. I couldn't help it, I laughed. You mean illegally collecting fees? That's when the Attorney General stepped closer. You've been charging residents for property the state owns. That's fraud, ma'am. Her voice cracked, but she clung to the performance. I have documents. The HOA voted on this. The shorter officer slid out an aerial photograph, glossy and damning, showing fake territorial claims with her signature at the bottom. We have these too, he said evenly. Her hands trembled. She pulled out her phone and muttered, I'm calling. The real police. She paced, dialed, and told the dispatcher there were trespassers impersonating officials at my address. The state guys just exchanged a look, like they were watching a child dig a hole deeper and deeper. Within minutes, sirens wailed through the quiet lake air. 2 county sheriff SUVs pulled up, gravel crunching. Marla nearly skipped to the door, shouting, Finally, arrest him! But when the sheriff walked in, his expression shifted. He spotted me. Dalton, and what's going on? Before I could answer, Marla cut me off, ranting about illegal occupancy and fake officers. She even jabbed her finger toward the attorney general, accusing him of impersonating an official. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. Marla, did you just accuse the state attorney general of impersonating an official? Her eyes darted, confused. Wait. What? The attorney general calmly produced his badge. It's authentic, and I think we have reason to believe this woman has been committing fraud against residents. The sheriff sighed, almost like he'd been waiting for this day. Marla, I already have complaints about you charging people fake fines. I didn't. No, you were bold enough to try it on state property. Her smile faltered. I was told this was HOA territory. I leaned in, voice low. By who, Marla? Because whoever told you that might be the reason you're about to lose everything. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. The sheriff gently took her phone from her hand, sliding it into his pocket. You won't be needing this right now. The attorney general's tone sharpened. We already have sworn statements from other homeowners. You threatened them with eviction if they didn't pay your so-called special assessments. One man even sold his fishing boat to cover it. Marla's voice wavered. Those fees were for community improvements. The state officer raised his brow. Funny, we checked the HOA bank account. Those improvements paid for your SUV and a trip to Cancun. Her face went pale. That's not true. I reached under the coffee table and pulled out a manila folder, sliding it onto the counter. Want me to open this? It's got every canceled check, every fake invoice, even a recording of you telling my neighbor, pay or I'll have the sheriff remove you. Her eyes darted. You recorded me? I grinned. Not me. My dock security camera. And it's been live streaming this conversation since you walked in. The sheriff glanced at the blinking red light in the corner and nodded. Well, that'll make the paperwork easy. Marla staggered toward the door, but the tall officer blocked her. Not yet. We still need to address the dock you tried to dismantle last summer. Her head snapped to me. You set me up. I shrugged. No, Marla. You set yourself up. I just pressed record. The Attorney General walked to the window, staring at the wooden dock stretching out into the calm water. His voice was steady. That dock is part of a state heritage easement. Removing it is a felony. Marla stammered. No one told me that. I tilted my head. Really? Because I sent you an email last year with the state paperwork attached. You even replied, noted. The officer pulled out a printed copy of that email, her bold signature right at the bottom. She gasped, her chest rising and falling fast. This is insane. I was only trying to keep the community in order. The sheriff cut her off, his voice firm. Community? Marla, you've been running a scam, and you walked right into a meeting with the one man who could shut you down permanently. The Attorney General turned back from the window, locking his gaze on her. This isn't just about fraud anymore. You tried to obstruct a conservation agreement and impersonate an authority figure. That's serious time. Her lips trembled. And then, almost comically, she smirked. a broken, desperate smirk that fooled no one. I just stood there, watching the whole house breathe with this heavy silence, realizing how quickly power flips when the truth finally catches up. Now I don't know how the courts will handle Marla or what her lawyer will try to spin, but I do know one thing. People like her eventually run out of lies to hide behind. And the irony? All she had to do was knock on the door that morning, maybe bring a neighborly smile instead of that clipboard of threats, and her life might have gone very differently. So here's where I'll leave it to you. What do you think? Was Marla just drunk on power, or did she actually believe she was protecting the community in some twisted way? Have you ever dealt with an HOA president or community figure who went too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to hear how you'd handle someone like that. And if you've got your own crazy HOA story, share it. Trust me, you're not alone.